Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope everyone's doing good. Yeah, Acolyte. Wow, what a start. Um, the only problem I have with a double episode to kick off is there's so much to think about. There's so much to think about. So much to process. With one episode, you can kind of go, well, let's just focus on the one episode there. But with two, we've gotten so much. Wow, ushering in a new era of Star Wars storytelling, which I've been excited about. Um, Facebook, who apparently Facebook comments, who apparently saw this months ago, had already long decided that it was going to suck. I'm glad it didn't. At least for my liking. I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say about the Acolyte so far. Yeah, episode 1 and 2, I've already forgotten the titles. This will start to sink in later on after multiple viewings, and these will get multiple viewings. So yeah, we're jumping straight into 100 years before the Phantom Menace. So to sort of see what the landscape looks like here in terms of the main focus is the Jedi Order here, obviously. So getting a sort of look at how the Jedi Order is operating towards the end of the High Republic, and I'm one who's kind of been lucky enough to delve into. I haven't gotten super deep into the High Republic. I've gotten through Phase 1 and most of Phase 2 now, and I'm not nowhere near caught up with what's going on here in the High Republic, which is very much what this era is sort of a part of, or it's at the High Republic's end. I'm also partway through The Living Force by John Jackson Miller, a new Star Wars book, which is fantastic as well. We're really starting to get to this, what feels like could be the tail end of the story that's starting here in the Acolyte in some way or another. That there's a good 100 years there. So I don't know. I'm just going to be spitting out thoughts, just going for it. I've got no idea how to sort of start this discussion. Yeah, definitely would like to have some guests on in the future. So if you're keen to come and have a chat with me next week about episode 3, and of course we'll definitely get some thoughts on episodes 1 and 2 here tonight and next week. Just if anyone else wants to come and hang out with me, that'd be awesome. A couple of folks in the chat. Good friend Brian, what's going on? Ready to geek out over the show and need a Kel Naka figure in the Vintage and Black series like yesterday. 100%. He looked great for that last little snippet we got there at the end of episode 2. Really, really cool. Hey, Jason's here too. Middle-aged Kiwi man collecting Star Wars figures. That was so rad. I loved every second of it. Glad to hear it, my friend. It was, I don't know, it feels fresh. It's exciting. The worlds we visited, the planets. We've already been to like 6 or 7 different planets. And they've all got their own little vibrant feels about them. I loved sort of seeing the aliens. That was one thing, sort of, even within the first like 15 minutes of the first episode, there is so much life involved in these scenes, like with the alien life, what's going on, market stalls, all these little bits and pieces. I feel like that's what shows like, at least off the top of my head, the Book of Boba Fett and parts of Andor kind of missed. I know Andor is a little bit different because it's very much the human struggle. So it was very, very macroed in on those human characters in that story. So you didn't want to distract from those characters with aliens and full backgrounds and stuff like that. Would have pulled away, I think, a little bit with Andor. But at least with Book of Boba Fett, I was talking with someone today at work, and Book of Boba Fett was definitely the biggest culprit when it came to. It wasn't a culprit; it was a victim of circumstance, I think, in terms of COVID restrictions, which it was used as an excuse for a little while, but I definitely think we see it clearer now. Seeing what's being put out now, and you can populate these sets, these little worlds. Right at the start, we see May entering this sort of village on this planet, and I can't remember the names. Ueda was the first planet, I think, where Master Indara Carrie Ann Moss's character was in at the very start there. Just the alien life, man. Like the designs of the aliens, they felt a little bit more. I don't know what the word is. A little bit more. I don't know. That each, like the original trilogy and prequels, all have their own sort of flavor of aliens. The sequel trilogy definitely has its own sort of flavor of alien life. This itself kind of feels like it blends the two together. So it feels a little bit more like the aliens we see in Solo. I think of like the scene with Lando's, where they initially come across Lando and there's the aliens sort of sitting around playing Sabacc. Kind of gives me that vibe more so than some of the sequel stuff, except maybe Canto Bight. There were a lot of cool looking aliens in Canto Bight, and I know it's not everyone's favorite film or favorite scene from that film, but there's a lot of really cool alien life, and to sort of see those kind of aliens on a different sort of spectrum, they're all, just rough, tough settlers in these villages. It's interesting. I like seeing the aliens. It sort of feels populated. It feels dense. It makes the universe feel bigger when you've got more different life forms out there. It's a big galaxy, and the original trilogy, obviously, again, it was a victim of technology. It was so limited with resources. There was only a certain amount of masks they could make with those budgets. So you had Rhodians, you had 6 different Greedos throughout the film trilogy. They all looked the same. There were a lot of similar aliens being used. Same with the prequels, I think. There were a lot of the similar sort of aliens being used. But it has expanded now, and it's very interesting. I'm looking forward to reading up on all of this stuff. Yeah, again, like I said, guys, like it's me. This is me just sort of just spilling my brain, just getting all these thoughts out there. The characters, these are all new characters, which is very cool. And I have thoughts about some of them so far. And maybe I'll go through characters. Brian says, Nemoidians, how good was that? I love seeing the Nemoidians again. And they look so good too. Like being able to watch so much Phantom Menace lately, like through May. I think I watched Phantom Menace probably 4 or 5 times throughout the month. And the Nemoidians are great. They're just one of those first aliens. I just remember the making of the Phantom Menace, where the guy's doing the puppet over the face, and seeing the Nemoidians again in this series is really, really cool. Love the look of those aliens. They're really good. Ian, going to have to watch on catch up as I have some volunteering duties. Quick initial thoughts on the new series. I really liked it. Awesome to hear there, Ian. Hope you're doing well. I appreciate you stopping in. Good on you for doing some volunteering too. That's very, very good of you. Yeah, the Jedi characters. Obviously, the Jedi are the main characters. Well, the main two are. I forgot your name. See, I've already associated some of these character names because they have action figures coming out. So we know we have May. She's the assassin. We have Jedi Master Sol. He is kind of the main guy out of the Jedi Order. I believe he was in Squid Game. I haven't seen Squid Game, so I'm not sure. I really like his persona. He seems to be really sort of humanized, like a real humanized version of a Jedi. There's still a bit of human spirit. He can think for himself. He's not dogmatic. He's not mindlessly operating as a Jedi. This guy still can think for himself, act for himself. He's got some history there, which we're looking forward to digging into a little bit more. Padawan Jeki, which is Daphne Keen's character, bright, plucky, upstart Jedi. She's exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing more of her. Being an alien is really cool. Who else have we got? We've got Yord Fandar, the main. He's the Jedi that's joining him along with his crew. Now he's a new Jedi Knight. Like he's been a Jedi Knight for a couple of years, I think he said. And this guy sort of seems he's a little bit brash, a little bit by the book, perhaps. He's an act first, ask questions later kind of guy. Yeah, he's the first to draw his lightsaber on at least 2 occasions that I remember in these episodes. First to draw swords. That may land him in some hot water at some stage. Who else? We've got Osha, which I'm not sure how it's spelt. I will watch it with subtitles next time. So yeah, she is the twin of May, as we discover. I thought there might have been some kind of duality to this one person. Sort of getting halfway through that first episode into the second, I kind of thought, no, there's some duality here. I think this might be maybe going down the sort of the schizophrenic route. There might be a good side and a dark side to this same character, and they sort of switch. But it is clear now that they're both 2 people with different tellings of history. So we got Jedi Master Sol, who thinks he saved Osha from this fire, from this planet. Thinks the sister died, the sister survived. She thinks her sister died, and it's a bit all over the place. So there's a little bit of mystery to unravel. There's a little bit of learning to be done. Really looking forward. I like that side of things. I like the sort of the murder mystery, sort of tracking down this duality to these characters. Trying to work out what's going on. I like playing the guessing game. I like being able to discuss this and talk about it with people. And it's going to be fun. I'm going to be doing an episode of Punch It Podcast tomorrow at work, so stay tuned for that. I'll make sure I put a link up for that on Instagram when that one goes live. So yeah, I think we're really looking forward to having a good chat about that tomorrow. But yeah, what's everyone else liking character-wise? What are you digging? What are you feeling? What's everyone else thinking about the setting, the planets? Yeah, it's I'm excited, guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing where this series is going to go. This era of Star Wars. One thing I was just sort of thinking at the start was seeing the Jedi Vector ship that Yord Fandar and his Padawan were flying when they arrived on the Moidian ship there at the beginning, when they were searching for who they thought was the assassin, but it was Osha. But yeah, that Jedi Vector, which we hear so much about in the High Republic novels, which was really, really cool. Again, just I don't know. I found it's so much to unpack. I've finished watching them like 2 hours ago. Had to wait until finishing work for the day. We watched the first episode at work, and then came home and watched the second episode. It was really, really good. Just trying to think of other characters now. I think I've sort of gone through most of them. Vanessa Rowe, she seems to be like a higher ranking Jedi. I'm not sure whether she's like part of the High Jedi High Council. They haven't really established that yet. But she is a character from the High Republic novels. And basically in that period, she was basically a Jedi child prodigy. She reached knighthood as a teenager, took on a Padawan before she was, I think when she was 15 or 16, she took on her first Padawan. I'm looking forward to seeing her in action because she's got the light whip, man. She's got the light whip. We've seen that in the trailer, the purple light whip. So there's a cool story. I can't think of which of the books it was. It was in the phase 1. So basically, she's got a purple lightsaber and she uses that quite a lot. And eventually, she modifies her blade so that she can have it active as a standard lightsaber, or she can, change it so it can loses that, stiffness to the blade, and she can utilize it as a whip. And she's really concerned to go back to her former master, Stellan Gios, who was, a big part of the Jedi Order. He's the, basically the poster boy at the time for the Jedi Order during the High Republic. He's got a cool lightsaber, by the way. And she's basically, she's not scared. She's just, she's hesitant to go to him and sort of say, look, I've actually changed my style of dueling. I've altered my lightsaber to be something different to the way you taught me. But she sticks with it and she goes with it. And I'm looking forward to seeing it in action. Need some water. Yeah, really looking forward to these action figures hitting though. I haven't ordered the TVC versions yet. They've only got the two. They've only got Master Soul and May so far. I hope they do more in TVC. I really do, but for the most part, I've just ordered the Black Series figures because there's more of them. I did the same with Andor, just because there's more selection. I did pick up all the Andor figures later. There's still not many of them, so yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, Kel Naka. So we get through and we find out that May is on a path of revenge. She wants to take out these 4 Jedi. Obviously had some part to play in what she assumed was the death of her sister Osha. Again, there's so much still to find out. Still so much. I'm just merely speculating. So there's some reason she's harboring this hatred. She's also at the behest of this helmeted red lightsaber wielding character that we haven't seen apart from the trailer and him standing on that cliff edge there. So we're not sure what's going on there. What's the story with this guy or girl wearing a helmet? A lot of people are speculating this is an early Knight of Ren, which the way the helmet looks, it's got a very similar shape to Kylo's helmet and a couple of the other Knights of Ren from the sequel films. And we're talking, that's 160 years. So yeah, there's still a lot to unpack there. There's it's 100 years before Phantom Menace. That's 30 years before the original trilogy. The 30. So you're talking about 160 odd years between Kylo Ren that we see in the sequel trilogy and this guy here. So that's a long space of time to possibly have that lineage of the Knights of Ren. So we're going to have to wait and see. But stylistically, yeah, I think the sort of opening crawl, quote unquote opening crawl, it's sort of, I like the way they did that. They sort of gave you the sort of 3 little lines, basically just sort of declaring that there are Force users out there in the corner of the galaxy that aren't Jedi trained. These are separate. These they can't be Sith, because at this point, unless because by the prequel trilogy, the Sith have been presumed extinct for a millennia. Ki-Adi-Mundi says millennia, that's 1,000 years. So assume Darth Bane was the last assumed Sith Lord, or his predecessor went into hiding at some point. That's a story we don't have canonized yet. But yeah, 1,000 years without the Sith, it's at a point where the reappearance of Darth Maul in Episode 1. That's that's the first time the Sith have shown themselves. But again, the Sith and the Jedi are both sectors of a bigger picture. There's the Jedi are a sector of the light side of the Force. There's other religions that align themselves with the light. Guardians of the Wheels, for example, from Rogue One. There was a whole sect of them. And there are others. Sith are just another faction of dark side followers. So I don't think we're going to be playing Sith here unless it's part of the bigger picture, into going into the future of this series and whatever else is to come. I don't think this is going to be like a Sith Lord. I don't think we're going to be seeing. I think it's too early for Darth Plagueis. I would like to sort of maybe see some whispers of something, but I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot to think about at the moment. And don't get me wrong, as much as I'd love to sort of see the Darth Plagueis story come to fruition, I don't know if it's going to happen this time. I don't know it's going to happen with this series, at least not in this season. I think the Acolyte here, this first season of the Acolyte, really just needs to lay some strong foundations. And I think it's going to do that already. I think, seeing familiar things like Jedi robes, Jedi characters, lightsabers, the Jedi Temple. I mean, how good was it seeing the Jedi Temple on Coruscant? That was really, really cool. That was really good. It looked clean, there's something about it. It just looked refreshing to see the Jedi Temple again. Even inside, like seeing all these Jedi, they're wearing predominantly white robes. It feels cleaner. I don't know if it's not the right word. It's, they're a little bit more, can't think of the word, but, by the time of the prequel trilogy, they're all dressed in, browns, dark tans, some gray, a lot of sort of dark plainer colors that, might suggest that the Jedi have had to simplify their wardrobe in order to fit into the galaxy a little bit more, as opposed to sort of being on a bit more of a pedestal, wearing these sort of ornate, sort of styled and colored robes, which we sort of see a lot in the High Republic artwork. Very ornate robes, bright whites, golds. Even here, we're starting to tone down from those whites and golds. We're getting these sort of mustard yellows. We're getting some browns when they're traveling. But when they're in the temple, they're wearing whites, white robes, which seems a little bit more theatrical. Theatrical is not the word I'm looking for. Ceremonial, yeah, possibly ceremonial, possibly traditional Jedi robes. But again, it's still a very new thing. The other thing, the fact that there are Jedi outposts still in the galaxy, which is awesome. I love that, and that's something that's come up in the Living Force novel. Is that by the time of the prequels, the Jedi have basically, or the Republic and the Jedi have basically shut down all these Jedi outposts that are scattered throughout the galaxy. These stations for study, these outposts for Jedi to visit, and when there's issues on these worlds, there's presence. The Jedi have this presence in these outer rim worlds, and etc. etc. So to see them visit basically another Jedi outpost was manned by a Jedi called Torben, which was really, really cool. And they mentioned the Barash Vow, which was really interesting too. We'll get to that in a minute, but just sort of seeing him like entranced in the Force, he's hovering in midair. It brought me back to The Last Jedi, with Luke sort of meditating on the rock right at the end, robes sort of spilling down, but he is in midair. He's focused on the Force. He is so in tune with it. He is just hovering there. And then, of course, Rey, at the start of Rise of Skywalker, where she's, basically saying, be with me, calling on the Jedi of the past to sort of be with her and guide her along her way. And then we've got Jedi Master Torben here. Whether he's a Jedi Master, I'm not sure. We're going to get his backstory because we've seen some shots of Torben as a younger Padawan. So we're going to get a little bit more of a look at this guy and his backstory throughout the Acolyte here. But to see him in what has come out in other canon stories is the Barash Vow, which is a vow that Jedi make when, from what I remember, it's like almost like they need to give back to the Force. They feel like they've taken something, they've done something wrong, they've done something against the Jedi code, and basically they trance themselves into the Force, and basically until the Force basically guides them back. Something like that. It's hard to put into words. I know it's all working up here. Don't worry. But yeah, just sort of seeing him there. It's a matter of how long's he been there. I thought his beard looked a little bit stuck on. I don't know if anyone else picked on that. But yeah, I like the sort of the scar down his eye. He's been in an accident. Something's happened there. But yeah, his beard looked a little bit stuck on. I don't know if that was done overly well. We'll see. I don't know. It's I'll give it another rewatch, but I'm really interested in man Osha's backstory. Master Soul is very intriguing too. Definitely, man. I've always loved this idea, and I know it's been touched on a few times, obviously with Luke and Leia. This whole sibling twins, this dynamic, we've rarely seen it like on a good and bad perspective of two family members. I always liked, there was the Old Republic video for the video game that came out a few years ago about the two twin brothers. One sort of embraced the dark, one embraced the light, and they all sort of, it was so, sort of touching on this sibling thing. Having one sort of been trained as a Jedi and left the Jedi Order, one that's, thought dead and survived and has been sort of trained to use the Force in a non-light way. So to sort of see how those two characters coming back together, these two sisters come back together, I think it's going to be really good dynamic between. And the fact that they've got the same actress playing both of them, and she just killed it, man. She absolutely killed it. Amanda Stenberg, I think her name was. Amanda, yeah. Steinberg. All these names will become second nature to us Star Wars fans within weeks, I guarantee it. For her to play basically, two different characters. Well, it's two different characters. I think she absolutely nailed it. I think she was fantastic. I loved, just in body language, you sort of see this sort of uptight assassin, fight me. And, she's got all the moves. That was so cool. And then to go to see Osha, and she's a mechanic. She said mechanic, which is like mechanic. It was just like the Star Wars word for mechanic. Or mechanic, however she describes it. So yeah, she's sort of laid back. She's got the shoulders are down. She's a little bit more chilled out. Until obviously she's on the run. She brings back that sort of tension again. But for the most part, it's just it's to play two different characters that are in so close together. That's really interesting. It's really good dynamic. And that's something that probably intrigues me more than anything in this show. There's something about those sort of characters. It's obviously it starts with Anakin Skywalker, the battle between the light and the dark. Characters like Quinlan Vos, Saj Ventress, Kylo Ren. This sort of duality of good and dark and trying to find that medium and how they react together, I think is really, really interesting. Because let's face it, we've all got a bit of a dark side, We've all got something in us that's, capable of not necessarily evil, but, dark thoughts perhaps, but we're inherently good people that, occasionally emotions do get the better of us. And yeah, sort of bringing that sort of dynamic into the fray is going to be cool. I hope a lot of people online. I don't care. Like Facebook comment sections are just a vile crap hole. Let's be honest. That's the best way I can put it. It's an absolute vile shithole. choose to ignore it, using the ha-ha reaction to, I don't know. It's just stupid. I get so frustrated with it. I want to jump in and just go, just shut up. Just shut up, you lot. But I don't. I'm just like, you know what? Let the actions of the happy speak the words. We're all, I was excited for this series. I'm still excited for this series. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm going to rewatch it probably a couple of times at least this week. The episodes didn't feel too long, which was really, really good. There was no point where I was like, oh, this is kind of dragging, or this is a little bit slow. It was sort of just kept going. It just kept going. It was really good. That's basically all I'll say. So yeah, hopefully next week I'm gonna have someone else to chat with. Just if I can get 30 to 60 minutes here, just even if it's just me getting my thoughts out, that's cool too. That's cool. Just trying to rack my brain as to anything else that really sort of springs to mind. But like I said, it's still so early. This is day one of a new era of Star Wars. I'm pumped for it, man. I'm pumped. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. Long term too, it's not just the rest of the series. I'm pretty pumped to kind of go, look, let's see if the Acolyte can build a foundation that can be built upon in the future for other stories from this time period. I love that we're getting something it's different again. It's a different flavor of Star Wars. It's we've had Mandalorian, which is very much Western. This is Western. We had Ahsoka, which is very much a samurai sort of film, samurai sort of inspired series. With Andor, which is political intrigue and stuff like that. Whereas this is very much a thriller with a bit of martial arts stuff thrown in. Speaking of which, that was killer. That the fights were really, really cool. I loved seeing Jedi Master in Indara. There was a Jedi Master in the High Republic called Indira, which is why I'm getting the two mixed up. They're very similar names. There was Indira Stokes, who was a Togruta, and then there is Carrie-Anne Moss as Indara. So that's one name that's gonna bounce back and forth. The fight scene with her and May, and then May and Sol afterwards in the second episode. Hey Blake, what's going on, man? Just dropped by to say hi. Just watched the first episode, about to start the second. Enjoy it, dude. Enjoy. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Definitely hit me up. Let me know what you think when you're done. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts. It's good fun. It's just good fun Star Wars, man. Like, just a bit of action, bit of intrigue, bit of I love. It's just got good Star Wars vibes about it. Again, sort of the settings, the planets. I want to see more of these planets. The scenery was awesome. Like, I loved sort of getting the shot of the planets. I love when the planet names come up. It just gives you that a little bit more to learn about these planets. Rogue One did it. Well, we got the titles for the planets coming up. Just that little bit of extra information for us to all learn, rather than take it all for, try and catch it all in speech and dialogue. The characters, I think, were good. I'm looking forward to seeing more of them. Great cast. Sorry to all the white middle-aged men out there that, were unhappy that there are no middle-aged white men in the show. It is what it is. You know what? There are human actors playing all these different characters, and that's what it is, man. It's I don't want to really end this on a negative, but when people use the term woke as an excuse for something they don't like, it's just poorly thought out. Like, just if you want to explain why you don't like it, explain why you don't like it. Don't just say it's work or it's a dumpster fire. It's not a well thought out basis for conversation or even a good reason for why you didn't like it. It gets to bigger issues at hand anyway, as to how people like to act on the internet without any comeuppance, without any, there's just social media for the most part is just a vile cesspool. It's just why I don't take it to heart too much. But, if you like it, go and spread the good word. Go and share your love, share your passion. I think, it is, comment sections fill up very quickly, but it is a very noisy, very small amount of the fan base. And most of the time, they're not the diehards. And I don't want this to sound gatekeepery, because I don't mean to be, but the diehards that are watching it and the people that are enjoying it, we're just enjoying it. We're watching it. We're feeling good in here. We don't have to go and announce it all over the internet that we loved it. Like, we just love it. Just enjoy it. Just have fun with the ride. If you don't like it, that's cool too. Just, there's, if you want to have a nice civilized conversation, go for it. If you want to put others down that liked it because you didn't like it, don't do that. Just let people enjoy shit. And yeah, if you don't like it, go watch something else. I just, George said that I was doing a little video for my May Phantom Menace videos, and there was an old article where they were asking George, like, a lot of people didn't like the Phantom Menace. Why didn't they like the Phantom Menace? Everyone complained about Jar Jar, everyone complained about this, everyone complained about that. And George basically said, if you don't like it, go watch The Matrix or something. Go watch something you do like, rather than just crap on stuff you don't. Find something you do like. Positive, happiness, good energy, people. Good happiness. It goes a long way for how you can feel as a person on the inside and outside, and it comes across in person when you're being positive about something. You're expressing your passion for something you enjoy. Honestly, some people going all Debbie Downer and going, it's woke, it sucks. You haven't even seen it yet. It's woke, it sucks. I don't really want to have a conversation with you about it. You just look like a D-bag, That's plain and simple. But yeah, again, next week, Kalnaka, man, the Wookiee Jedi. I'm so excited to see Jonas Suotamo back in a Wookiee outfit, man. Like, I got to meet him in Chicago 2019 at Star Wars Celebration. I got to meet him there. And, I'm 6'2". I'm not a short person, but standing next to him, I felt what it feels like to be a short person. That dude was just an absolute tower of a man. Really kind, just super. I'm so stoked that he gets to come back to Star Wars and play a Wookiee Jedi, man. Like, it's one thing being Chewbacca. Like, he'll always be Chewbacca. Peter Mayhew will always be Chewbacca. Jonas was able to do stuff with Chewbacca, keep Chewbacca going. And Chewie will always be a big part. I've got Chewie on my arm. For those that haven't seen it, there he is. Chewie will always be a part of me. I've met Peter Mayhew. I didn't get to size myself up next to Peter because he was sitting on a stool. Those last sort of 5 to 10 years weren't great for Peter and his legs. I didn't get to stand with him. But yeah, I got to measure up against Jonas, and yeah, like I said, got to feel what it's like to be a small person at 6'2". But yeah, that dude deserves all the success in the world. I hope you had a blast playing Kelnaka. I'm really, really excited to see this dude in more action. He's going to be cool. He's going to be really, really cool. Totally agree. Social media did a few good things, like unexpected friendships. Yes, sir. Got one right here. Good on you, Blake. Awesome. Have fun. Yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight's first episode. I'm going to take notes next week. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to watch it twice. I'm going to take notes for episode 3. I'm going to watch it first. Then I'm going to watch it second. And the second watch, I'm going to take notes. And I'm going to be prepared. And if I'm not prepared, call me out on my BS. Yeah, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll start seeing some of these Acolyte action figures roll out. I know the Black Series ones have a estimated release date of June the 10th, which is 5 days away, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just got an email from Zing Pop Culture, and they're sort of saying July now. So there could be some delays there. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll find out soon enough. But yeah, I'm looking forward to finding a spot in my collection for those brand new characters to come in and start populating my collection, my shelves. You know, I'm looking over at like the Mandalorian Black Series shelf over here. It's so full. I hope we get to do similar stuff with these, whether it's Black Series, whether it's vintage. Don't care. I'm balanced. I like both. I'm not going to get into an argument with people over the scale of their toys. It's just, yeah, it is what it is. Another thing I'll leave for the Facebook comments. All right, folks, I'm going to try and hopefully in the next week I'll get someone to come and hang out with me. If anyone's keen, anyone's free, hit me up. I'll be keen to talk some Acolyte with you. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed this. I had a good time talking about it, getting some thoughts off my head. Yeah, I'm going to go and rest my voice for the rest of the evening, and maybe do a sneaky little rewatch before I hit the hay. It's nearly 9 p.m. and I have a 12-hour shift tomorrow, so I'm going to be taking it very easy. But thanks everyone for watching. I appreciate you coming out. See you next week. May the force be with you always.